Macmillan Audio presents A Divided Spy by Charles Cumming. Read for you by Jot Davies.
We are, I know not how, somewhat double in ourselves, so that what we believe we disbelieve, and cannot rid ourselves of what we condemn. Michel de Montaigne. Truth doesn't always come from truthful men. James Salter. London. 1. Put it all on red. Put it all on black. Jim Martinelli stacked £5,000 of chips into 2 6-inch piles. He held each of the piles in the tips of his fingers. One of them was fractionally higher than the other slightly crooked at the base. He stared at them. His whole future, the mountain of his debt, just 20 discs of plastic in a casino. Double the money, and he could keep Chapman at bay. Lose it, and he was finished. Arms across the bays, a blur of hands as the players around him reached out to place their bets. The suit from Dubai putting single chips on 18 through 36, the other Arab putting a grand on red. The Chinese tourist to Martinelli's left put a carpet of blue chips in the upper third, smothering the table with piles of 5 and 6. Big wins for him tonight. Losses. Then he put 20 grand on 10 and walked away from the table. £20,000 on a 1 in 35 chance. Even in the worst times, in the craziest urges of the last 2 years, Martinelli had never been stupid enough to do something like that. Perhaps he wasn't as messed up as he thought. Maybe he still had things under control. The wheel was spinning. Martinelli stayed out of the play. It didn't feel right. He wasn't getting a clear reading on the numbers. The Chinese tourist was hovering near the bar, now almost 20 feet away from the table. Martinelli tried to imagine what it must be like to have so much money that you could afford to blow 20 grand on a single moment of chance. 20 grand was 4 months' salary at the passport office, more than half of his debt to Chapman. 2 wins in the next 2 rounds, and he would be holding that kind of dough. Then he could cash out, go home, call Chapman. He could start to pay back what he owed. The croupier was tidying up, centering chips, straightening piles. In a low, firm voice he said, "No further bets, please, gentlemen," and turned towards the wheel. The house always wins, Martinelli told himself. The house always wins. The ball was beginning to slow. The Chinese tourist was still hovering near the bar, back turned to the play, his little chimney of 20 grand on 10. The ball dropped and began to jump in the channels, the quiet, innocent clatter as it popped from box to box. Martinelli laid a private bet with himself. Red. It's going to be red. He looked down at his pile of chips and wished that he had staked it all. 27 red, said the croupier, placing the wooden dolly on a low pile of chips in the centre of the bays. Martinelli felt a sting of irritation. He had missed his chance. Across the room, the tourist was returning from the bar, watching the croupier clear away the losing bets, the cheap plastic rustle of thousands of pounds being dragged across the bays and scooped into the tube. There was no expression on his face as the stack on 10 was pulled.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?